Okay, hello everybody. Welcome. Welcome to our second session for our Tabula Rasa online retreat weekend. And yeah, if you didn't see this morning's session, we had a wonderful session with David and Francis, and felt like a really nice start to our retreat. And yeah, I'm Peter. I'm just hosting through the weekend. And for this particular session, I'm really happy to hear from the guys over at the monastery. We have Kirsten and Jason over there at the monastery, and really looking forward to your session. So I'll pass it straight over to you now.
Great, thanks, Peter. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, beautiful to see you all. So, yeah, we're here at the monastery and we have a live studio audience here. We have everyone gathered here in the gathering room together, and we're in for a really beautiful time together because there have been so many miracles and so much healing and opportunities to trust. It's just all day long. It's all day long. So we've invited everyone here actually to pray into it and see who feels the spark in their heart, or the nudge from the spirit to come on and share. So we're also looking forward to just seeing what comes through. And for us, our prayer is for it to be joyful and spontaneous as well. So as always, it's an opportunity to just give it over to the Holy Spirit and say, we trust in you completely. You're in charge of the evening. And in that way, it's sure to be fun.
Live.
Yeah.
Tell them a bit about how it started.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we're in the middle of we're calling it Going Green, Going Clean summer at the monastery. And the way that it started was, for me, the way my experience of it was, I put together my list for this year of projects for the property, everything that I was aware of that was needing to be repaired or upgraded. And so this list was pretty big because there's some whole aspects of the monastery that have been, I would say, dysfunctional. Like we have to shut down like most of the main house in the winter, for example. It's not really built for the winter. So it had been circulating for quite some time to winterize the main house, which is a huge project. But I put it on the wish list. I thought, well, you never know. Including doors and windows being replaced and gutters, all kinds of practical things. So I put this list together. It was part of me handing over the property actually for Greg to step in and take that whole area of maintenance and overseeing the physicality of things. And David came back with a great, yes, here's a good order of things for the spring and the summer and the fall. And then I was like, uh-oh, I can't oversee, we need a project manager. I can't possibly oversee all of that. Because he also came back with, and also it's not just about maintaining what we've got, it's also about a greater vision and expanding into bigger picture, what will really serve the monastery and what will really serve us to be here, so that there's less even focus on the property and we're actually more freed up for other directions and other focus for the mind. So when he came back with that, I said, okay, David, well, definitely some kind of project manager is going to be needed because I'm feeling pretty maxed. I've been the project manager with the monastery for quite some time. So then that's when Jason came into the picture and David said, well, Jason's coming back from Europe.
Mexico.
Oh, Mexico. That was last year. Yeah, that was last year. So that just started this whole ball rolling, and we could call it a snowball in the desert. And then it was like, oh, wow, going green ideas started coming in. And then Soren wants to build a windmill. And so it just grew into this whole big free flow of ideas and possibilities. And so that's where the going green kind of idea came from. But of course, it's all a backdrop for going clean in the mind. It's all for healing and forgiveness. So
Yeah, I was kind of restful in Mexico. I remember telling Francis that I'd have all this meditation time, or I really loved being part of mystery school. I was one of the facilitators at mystery school, but I said I have a lot to give. So a few weeks later, when this came in, it just felt like a match to come up here. And yeah, it's definitely been a lot. I mean, maybe we could pan around. This is what it takes to go green at the monastery in terms of projects and cleaning the mind. We just show you everybody that's here. Yeah, and some of them will be coming up as inspired soon. But yeah, even though that was the initial invitation, was to come up and be a project manager, I've done I've done a lot of projects, revamping houses, and my background's a mechanical engineer, but I was kind of tired of doing them on my own. Like they would, at least in my perception, they would work out well in form, but I was longing for something deeper, like a deeper connection with them. And I didn't want to just do it in the old way. And I'd always start out with that intention, but something shifted this time that allowed me to really fulfill that prayer of going deeper with it, because it was really funny, because I was down in Mexico starting the projects and talking with David a lot, and he's sending me to solar panel links and government websites where, you know, the tariffs are really high, and so they're not coming into the country, and all these kinds of things that seemed like blocks, and other things that seemed like windows to just follow. And so it was just a prayer of where to go. And David was really, well, I say funny now, but it didn't seem funny in the moment, but he was just like, yeah, go, here's a $20,000 solar panel kit, and do all these things. And initially I'm like, whoa, that's so huge. We need to do a lot of research, and you sure that's what you want? But I wasn't even conscious of those thoughts. It was just like, oh, wow, okay, that's a great direction. But I saw these thoughts appear as I was moving along. And so we did. James and I, who was one of the first ones, he's not here, but him and I just started doing all the research on all the projects, and probably spent hours and hours, like I want to say 100 hours, but it was a lot. And then all of a sudden, we realized we needed to call this company called Missouri Wind and Solar, and we called them. And the guy's like, yeah, this is what you need to do. You need this many solar panels, this big a battery, da 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 da. And he made this big long list. And I thought, that sounds fantastic. And then I got off the phone and I had this flash, and I looked over at David's list and this list, and it was identical. Different company, minus a windmill, but identical. And I just remember making the commitment there. I'm like, wow, you know, when someone's devoted their life to spirit, which David has, and all of us here are, yeah, I mean, really doing the best we can and have given our life over to the spirit. It's like you would do well to trust them and follow. And it was just like, oh, that's how this is going to be different this year. I'm not going to come up with any personal projects or what I think I like or what's good for me, and be very, very vigilant to that. And yeah, the reflections would come in and my own thoughts would come in, because they're all my thoughts. But I just had to really stay firm with, well, actually what came through in a very obvious way from David. And if I'm not sure, let's call him in and connect with him. And that just made it so so alive, to just be able to rest in that and not have to wonder at the core, is this given? And then when the core is solid, then all the other decisions, the engineering decisions are relatively easy. But dealing with preferences and trust, and that's where the healing is. So that was a big thing.
Yeah, and that's something that we've like really became so conscious of quickly. Something like the main house, because as David's shared online several times, nobody owns the monastery. It's owned by Jesus, if you could give anyone ownership of it, but it's under stewardship and care. And so when we're purely doing this because it's guided by the Spirit and we trust in it completely, yes, every decision is as easy as breathing because you're not making them, and you don't have all the interference patterns of preferences. So then when it came to the main house, every time we thought of a person, a particular person, this person, any other person living in the main house in one of those bedrooms, we couldn't make decisions for it. It literally blocked it. It had to be that it was not being built or changed in any way for a person. It was purely because it's guided. And then it's like this. And then if there was a shift of direction, it's so simple. It's like, oh, that doesn't fit there. Like the vanities we just discovered, because there's a new solar hot water system upstairs in the upstairs bathroom. The big vanity was going to go in there. It now actually fits better in the downstairs one. So they just switch, and no one's attached to anything. It's just practical and easy as breathing.
Yeah.
It's just allowing the things to move.
It's always for the healing, because there was even a moment where we had this landing that's up there on the second floor. And at one point I thought everybody should get out of the house and would come down. But when I really prayed into it, I really felt the landing to stay there. And yet our contractor, he's kind of like really forward, and he was still kind of getting back into linking in with us. We've had him here almost every summer that we're all living here doing projects. But when he goes off to other projects, kind of gets more into the worldly way of doing things. And when he comes here, which he loves it, this year was a really big year of bringing him into how we do things and not really just letting him do his own thing. But so again, I joined with David. I'm like, how do we do this? Because I mentioned that I want to keep the landing up there to our contractor, and he just told me that's stupid.
Vince said that, yeah, not David.
No, you know his name. Yeah, Vince. Vince, the contractor, said that's, but I actually just really love it when people tell me their thoughts directly. So I was like, thank you. And he's like, I'm sorry to say it. I'm like, no, thank you. I want to hear. So I just joined with David about it. I'm like, how do I approach this? Because I'm not a builder, and I'm not really aware of what the big plan is. And he said, well, just remember, until you're able to accept the atonement completely, and you just realize that everything is always a decision between the ego and the spirit in the mind, there are sometimes roles that need to be embraced. Roles that need to be embraced for the undoing. And you're the boss, and he's, I forgot, employee? Is that the opposite?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's the employee. So you just have to speak to that without saying those words, of course. So I thought, well, this must be the avenue. So I really feel the landing. And he's just like, rah, 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 all these things. And I'm like, Vince, no, because of this. And we got Greg here. He needs to stay in the bedroom, and da-da-da-da. We just kind of stayed at it together for about half an hour. And all of a sudden he just rested his eyes, put his head down. He's like, I'm your employee. I'll do whatever you want. And I didn't feel like a boss, and I didn't feel like he was an employee, but it was the spirit coming through in a way that allowed both of us to rest. And then Kirsten was there too. You were watching the whole thing, and we just settled in, and we could feel the moment happened. And all three of us were just in this really happy vibe and talking about miracles and where he's at for the summer and how much time he can come. And he had not been coming regularly at all, even though he had these projects to finish. And from that moment on, he pretty much came every single day that he said he was going to. And if there's still other healings we're working through, but yeah, even a landing,
it was the make the commitment first feeling. It was like
Yeah.
make the commitment to being joined in this,
Yes.
truly joined in this.
Yeah.
So there wasn't like his will versus your will, which is what, we're inviting him into. Was there something more with the landing?
No, I mean, in the end, we like it the way it is. He even said at the end, he's like, yeah, I kind of like your idea now. So it came around in the end. But that's what it's been like for all of us, I feel, in this room. We have to remind ourselves every day. Frances, who you saw speaking this morning, she made a mini documentary of ACIM, or Akiani, depending how you say it. And it's all this beautiful video of her making this painting where she doesn't know what it is, and all she does is focus every stroke on what's given to her in the moment. And this beautiful owl appears, and then she's like, is that the messenger that has something to say to me? And she hears no. So she wipes out this beautiful owl, and like these $1,000 paintings are just appearing and disappearing in your mind, but it's all right in front of you, but it's all for her to express what's in the moment. And so we all watched that as a group and kind of made it a commitment for this summer to really let every project be like that, be willing to stop the piping, the welding, if it doesn't feel right anymore, be willing to stop in any moment, because we don't want add-ons and we don't want to do anything for an end goal. And so to keep that in mind when there's so much going on, we're building solar panels over at our nearby property, we're putting new solar hot water heaters, we're gutter repairs, roof repairs, basic maintenance, staining. There's 36 buildings, like little individual buildings here. And so just to keep that in focus, it's taken a lot, but makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.